Well, it's been an exciting morning here in southeast Kansas. It's the 11th of November. It's Veterans Day, and I've been celebrating out here in the country by watching a whole lot of deer activity. I'd say that the rut is underway here. And first thing this morning, I saw that spiker come back in and get into the corn while I was in the forest this morning. Had two other does come within range, but I was kind of counting those as buck bait today, and I saw several other does that were kind of off in the trees but didn't come within range. So I decided to relocate up here to the field location, and this is was a soybean field earlier in the year. We went through stages where it was green, and then when it dropped the leaves, and then when it was harvested, and then now it's been plowed up and fertilized and sown into wheat. So anyway, you got a big, probably 30-acre field right here, and the way I set up on it is I used a buck decoy, and this is what I call the Preston decoy. A friend of mine from Michigan left it here last year, and he said, now you can use it till I get back next year. I know he's going to be back in about 4 or 5 days, so anyway, I wanted to go ahead and use this while the rut was underway here in Kansas. And here's what happened today. Here's the remote cam taking a look at the decoy, and the deer came out around the tree line and then went a little bit wide out into the field, and I figured he got about as close as he was going to get. And I'd say I'll have to step it off. It looks like about 30-35 yards. I took a shot, and I'm pretty sure it hit just right. He took off running across the open field, picked it up with the other camera. Well, I could clearly see that he was hurt and bleeding right in the vital area that I aimed at. So the procedure on archery and crossbow shots like this, if they don't fall right where you hit them, is you just wait. And this one came up at about 10 minutes after 10 o'clock, and I'm going to wait till 11 a.m. to even get out of this blind. And that's one of the hardest waits I have. I mean, waiting for a train to cross or waiting in a doctor's waiting room, they're bad enough, but the amount of time it takes from when you launch a bolt to where you recover the deer is a real stressful time. And so I'm going to do my best to wait. Looked to me like it kind of disappeared over there in an area with some honeysuckle vines, and that's not unusual for a wounded deer to travel toward honeysuckle, because the later the winter gets along, honeysuckle is one of the few plants that retains its green leaves and provides some kind of ground cover, even while the rest of it goes away the colder it gets. We're going to take a look and see if we can find this one and share it with you today on Season Chasers. Thanks for coming along. After waiting impatiently, I made my way over to the tree line where the wounded buck was last seen. Now, some blood trails are hard to find and follow, but not this one. This trail brought me right to the spot where I get to fill out this year's Kansas buck tag and then call some friends to get some help. Thanks to Sean and Dustin for getting him out for me. Today, I did my best to operate 2 cameras and a crossbow all by myself and still hunt. This is what I'd call a successful deer hunt. November deer hunting gets you out before it gets too cold, and you get to see a lot more deer activity during the rut. All right. Well, this has been a most memorable hunt here in the Kansas archery season, and this is my first buck with a crossbow. And I knew he was pretty wide. He was wider than his ears when he came in, and it's a nice 4x4 with a double brow tine here. And this one came in on my decoy. Had a buck decoy out. And thanks again to Preston from Michigan for leaving it behind last fall, because it brought in a pretty nice one, close enough for me to get a crossbow shot on it. Hit it kind of high on the shoulder here. Didn't go all the way through, and I'm still looking for the bolt, but it was enough to seriously, lethally injure this one, and got him down and saw him across the field and knew he went into this area with all the honeysuckle vines. And once I picked up the blood trail at the edge of the plowed field, it really wasn't too hard to find. But I got some work to do now to get this guy back into the cooler. But this has been a most memorable hunt here in southeast Kansas. Thanks for coming along today on Season Chasers. Now here's a look at the next step in the process. Sure, this one might be considered a trophy, but it's also going to provide some high quality natural foods for the winter season. After we field dress it, I take this one to the processor. I like to have the big backstraps or tenderloins in chunks. I like sliced roast so I can make some of my own jerky. And then I'll have the rest of it ground up with 10% beef fat. You can fix them any way you want to, but here's what I like to do. Season the fillets with garlic, salt, and cracked pepper. Then sear the edges in a hot cast iron grill pan. Just a couple of turns, and there you are.